Right, hello then everybody. Welcome back to the Golden Sky. It is Thursday, the 14th of August 2025, and that means that we are one day away from the return of the Premier League season, everybody. I am so excited, and in today's video we're going to talk about Liverpool's game against Bournemouth, kicking the Prem off tomorrow at 8 o'clock. We're going to preview it, we're going to look at all the details of the game, looking at both teams. So if you are new around here, please do leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment on the video if you did enjoy, let me know. All the housekeeping stuff, you know how it goes. Podcast listeners, 5-star ratings and reviews, please. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for joining me on there if you have. So today, like I said, we're going to look at Liverpool versus Bournemouth in a bit of detail and just talk about it and talk about some of the key battles, talk about both teams, and have a look at what might occur tomorrow in the game. So no further ado, we're going to get into Liverpool then, as the home team and as the team of this channel as well. And we'll start off with a predicted 11. I think that's how we'll do things today. So for me, these are my opinion. I've not took these from anywhere. This is just what I think will start. But I do think Liverpool's team is pretty easy to predict, to be honest. It's going to hopefully be Alisson, Frimpong, Konate, Van Dijk, and Kirkez as your back five. Szoboszlai in the middle, and your one player who might not start. I think the one doubt in this 11, I've gone with McAllister. I think he's going to start. We've got Florian Wirtz, Mo Salah, Hugo Ekitike, and Cody Gakpo as your kind of front three, front four. So the team that basically started the Community Shield, except this time with McAllister in instead of Jones. I think he should be fit enough to start. He might get brought off. He probably will get brought off if he does start, but I think Slot will go with him to start the game. So on paper, that team is really good. Obviously, we know that. Lots of exciting players, names in that team, and it should be really fun to watch. Hopefully, I can be consistent with my predictions this year and getting everyone right every week. We'll see. But yes, I think that should be the team. I think the one glaring thing in that team that we definitely need to touch on is that Liverpool are missing Ryan Gravenberch, so suspended from last season. And if you watched Slot's press conference this morning, he actually spoke about this a little bit, and it was interesting. He started talking about how Gravenberch was suspended because he got 2 yellows, and the first one was for a dive last year in the last game. And he was saying how it's funny how he got booked for a dive when we're, in all the metrics, one of the most honest teams in the league, as in committing the least fouls, yellow card, red card numbers down. I think he was trying to make the point that we're a pretty fair playing team and an honest team, and we got booked for diving, and it's cost us, and he didn't seem too happy about it. But yes, Gravenberch is suspended, and I think that'll be a big loss. The question is, how big of a loss will it be? So we saw in the Community Shield how Gravenberch was missed because he keeps the ball so well in the middle. Definitely could work on his passing a little bit going forwards, linking the play, but he definitely keeps the ball a lot, rarely gives it away. He's so mobile in there, helps break up attacks. He's obviously got the defensive ability as well. Really cemented himself last year as one of the best holding midfielders in the league. So I think against Palace, our struggles were pretty evident with Szoboszlai and Jones. The passing numbers were pretty good. You know, Jones completed 100% of his passes, but none of them were really impactful at all, backwards and sideways. And Szoboszlai was kind of the opposite. He was trying a lot of more ambitious passes, but gave the ball away too much in 2 dangerous areas, and Slot wasn't happy with that as well. He said that one of the issues we had was that we didn't have Gravenberch or McAllister in that middle too, and we missed their defensive work and their ability to keep the ball. And he said Palace were able to counter-attack us too easily. So there's big impetus on Szoboszlai and McAllister being able to keep the ball well enough versus Bournemouth's press. Bournemouth last year, one of the best teams in terms of running numbers. I think they were maybe even the highest distance covered per game in the Prem. Don't quote me on that. I just think it's just off the top of my head. And they really engaged in a real high press and had a lot of energy to that press as well. So if our midfielders aren't able to keep the ball and Bournemouth can suffocate us in the middle, then we might struggle with that kind of thing. And those turnovers of possession, they can be a problem for Liverpool, especially if we've got so many forward players up the pitch, as we saw against Palace for mainly the second goal and some other chances they had that they didn't quite take advantage of. So a big focus on that middle area for Liverpool for us with Szoboszlai. Hopefully McAllister plays, and that I think will help things. I mean, Jones not a bad player. He's going to keep the ball, but I just think McAllister is a level above where we want him back in the team for that first game of the season under the Anfield lights. We are also a little bit light on the bench. I thought this was something I'd talk about. Look at the starting 11. It looks pretty good. But, you've got a bunch of debutants in there. You've got Frimpong's a debutant, Kerkez, not in the Premier League, but for Liverpool. Wirtz and Ekitike, that's probably going to be 4 debutants. So how will they adapt to the pace of the Premier League early on? Will they have the stamina and conditioning to last a full 90 minutes at basically full pelt? I'm not sure. Have to wait and see. But we are a bit light on the bench, and what I mean by that is when it gets to around 60, 70 minutes in, if we're winning the game, I think we're okay. But if we're losing the game, I think we're a little bit stuck. These are probably our best options off the bench. So I think Jones will definitely see. We have Chiesa. He's our real only other attacker. We have Harvey Elliott, who Slot doesn't really fancy and has been rumoured with away and move out of Liverpool the whole summer. Hasn't had the best pre-season. Endo, Robbo, and Rio Ngamoa probably be on the bench as a 16-year-old. So for me, there was no major game changes. Like if we need the goal, if we need someone to create a chance to change the play, there's no major game changes. Your best attacking option is probably Chiesa or Elliott, and neither of those have really been favoured by Slot. So I think we're a little short up front at the minute. So hopefully we can build up a lead, and then the changes we make can be bringing on the likes of Endo to shore up the midfield, bringing on Jones to keep the ball, bringing on Robbo maybe to give Kerkez a little rest for 20 minutes. And they can be sort of the changes that we see, rather than attacking changes that we're forced to make. If Bournemouth have a 1-0 lead 70 minutes in, which hopefully they don't, then we could be a little short with players off the bench to come and change the game. And if we're relying on Rio Ngamoa, I don't know if we'll even bring him on. He didn't bring him on in the Community Shield. He probably wants to protect him. He probably doesn't want him playing in the Premier League just yet. But this is where we are. We don't have the attackers signed yet. Slot also did mention Joe Gomez will probably be on the bench. Don't know how fit he actually is, but it will be nice to see him on the bench as a little bit of an option as well if we need it. Not that I think he'll really play heavy minutes in this game, just thought it was worth mentioning. So a little stat I thought that was interesting as well to mention perhaps for Liverpool. So last season in the Premier League, our average possession was 57.9%, so just a shade under 58% per game there. If you had to guess where that was in the league, where that ranked, where would you put that? Just hearing the number 57.9%, I'm genuinely interested. And if you said second, then you'd be correct, because we were second, and that was behind City, of course, who were like 61%, so quite a gap. It was interesting to me. I was looking at that, and I just thought, will that be similar this year? It's only going to be one game, but what will our possession be like? Obviously, at home we want to have a lot of possession, and that's going to contribute to those stats. But I wonder if Slot will want even more ball possession this year. We talked about this a lot when he came in last year, that he wanted us to be slow and methodical on the ball and sort of pass teams to death, I think was the phrase that he used. But I think we did it well, but not always well enough last year. And for me, that's where this year having Wirtz added into the team is going to be really interesting. Because will the possession stats go up with him sort of dictating the play? And if you haven't watched any of our preseason friendlies, then I want to make it abundantly clear that, in my opinion now, Florian Wirtz is the entire dictator of Liverpool's attack, essentially. I'm not saying he's the main man. I think that's still going to be Salah. But Wirtz seems to be the pace setter in the attack. I think that's the phrase I'll use. What I mean is, when Liverpool have the ball in settled possession in the defence, where it's just passing from centre-back to centre-back, kind of waiting for an opportunity, if you just watch Wirtz, he's constantly moving in the middle, sometimes dropping deep, sometimes staying high, to basically find an angle where he can receive the ball. Sometimes he'll receive it and just pop it back to where it came from. But other times he'll receive the ball and quickly, in one touch or two touches, the ball will be out wide. And very quickly, Liverpool transition from that settled possession into an attack. And it's quite a fast, abrupt, direct attack. And that's what I've noticed in the pre-season friendlies. Wirtz seems to be the hub of all of that. He seems to be in control of when Liverpool go and when Liverpool and how Liverpool's tempo is. So it'll be interesting to see with him sort of how will our style be any different in terms of our possession numbers. Will they be really high? Will they be really low? Not really low. They're going to be high. We're going to have high possession. We're at home, but how often will he be on the ball? Will he be in control of play? And if he is, will that last the full 90 minutes? We saw Slot bring him off against Palace, I think probably to protect him a little bit. Same with Ekatike, who I think was also key. I think we lost a real focal point when he came off. We really couldn't get the ball forward. So I think he's got to be ready to play 90 minutes here, unless, like I said, we're winning. Because we need him to be able to stretch the defence, win the headers, link up play like he did with some lovely touches to bring others into play. Some of them being Wirtz. And I think, he's going to be really key. Has he got enough in the tank? And can he continue on from his really impressive performance against Palace in the Community Shield final? So speaking of the Community Shield final, I thought we'd just do a little sort of wrap up of the pre-season results. So Liverpool obviously beat Preston 3-1. We lost to Milan 4-2. We beat Yokohama Marinos 3-1. We beat Athletic Bilbao 4-1 and 3-2, and we lost to Palace on penalties, but after drawing 2-2 in the game. And I think the most important takeaway there for me, two things really. Scoring a lot of goals. You look at those numbers, we scored 3, scored 2, scored 3, scored 4, scored 3, scored 2. We're scoring multiple goals every game. But the problem, I think, and the more worrying thing than anything, is the goals we're conceding. Conceded against Preston, 4 against Milan, 1 against Yokohama Marinos, 1 against Bilbao, and then 2 against Bilbao, and then 2 against Palace, obviously, which was a problem for us. So it's very important for Liverpool that we manage to stop getting counter-attacked as easily, and that all comes with possession of the ball. You cannot give the ball away. Bournemouth, excellent attacking side, have lots of ability to be able to transition very quickly from their sort of defensive shape into an attack. And we'll get into Bournemouth in the next sort of section of this video and look at some of their players. But defending those counter-attacks in this game is going to be absolutely key. We want to make sure we go 1-0 up. We do not want to go 1-0 down, which we have had a habit of. Not so much last year, but previous years we went behind 1-0 a lot. And we don't want that to be a theme that carries into this season. So yeah, very exciting. Very excited to watch everyone play in a meaningful game for the first time in what feels like forever. And I think the new signings are a real point of interest, and not just because they're new signings, but because of the players they are and the positions they are on the pitch. You've got both fullbacks, so it's going to be really interesting to see how they behave on the pitch. Will they be both bombing forward? Will they be kind of sitting as one goes? What will the shape be of that back four? It's going to be really interesting. You've got your number 10, like I said, I think the new hub of the team in Wirtz. He's obviously very key to this game, very key to Liverpool now. I believe this season he'll be key to Liverpool. So, I think that's going to be really interesting to watch him and how he gets on. And then Ekatike, the striker, can he finish his chances? And it's important that if we get chances, we make sure we take them. We don't want to miss out on opportunities that we create, and allow Bournemouth encouragement as the game goes on to grow into the game as the crowd maybe gets a bit more nervy. We'll see how it goes. So all that said, I think that's enough to just touch on Liverpool specifically. Um, and we'll do a little bit more on Bournemouth in the next sort of chapter now. All right, so moving on to Bournemouth then, and we'll give a little bit of time to focus in on them, the opposition for us on Friday. Now, look, in my season predictions video that was released yesterday, depending on when this goes live, the video before this, if you want to go check that out, it's the full prediction of the Premier League table. I put Bournemouth in, I believe it was 11th, actually, off the top of my head. I can't even remember now. I think it was 11th. It was 11th. And I was quite high on them, despite the fact they've lost a lot of players, and we'll get into that when we do the predicted 11 in a minute. But I do think Bournemouth are a really good side. This is, look, it's not the hardest fixture on paper. Like, I don't want people to get misconstrued and think that I'm saying this is going to be really difficult and we've got a really hard opening fixture. But it's not the cakewalk that people might think it is either. Obviously, we're at home, so that helps. But Bournemouth last year were looking really, really good until they had a bit of a bad patch towards the end and tailed off the sort of European race and down into the mid-table sort of positions. But really good side, and everyone knows my thoughts on Iraola as a manager. I think he's really, really good. So all that said, the predicted 11 that I've seen online for Bournemouth, did a little bit of research into some Bournemouth fans and what they think their team will be, and this is sort of the main consensus that I've seen. So here is what it is. We have Petrovic in the goal with Adam Smith at right back, Hill and Senesi at centre backs with Truffert, the new left back, at left back. You've got Scott and Adams in the middle. That's Tyler Adams and Alex Scott, and then obviously the front men, Antoine Semenyo, everybody knows him, Tavernier, Django Ouattara, and Evan Nielsen. Django Ouattara, an interesting one for me, as I do think he has an impending move to Brentford on the cards. Don't know how advanced that actually is though, but he's caused us trouble in the past with his pace, his speed, his directness. He's definitely caused us trouble. I remember there was a game away at Bournemouth a few years back when he, I don't know if he won a penalty against Van Dijk or he just took Van Dijk on and they created a chance from it, and maybe scored. But he's caused us problems. He's a very direct player, so it'd be good if he wasn't playing. We know about the qualities of Semenyo. I mean, he's really, I think last season he really had a good season. Not quite top level, but good season. It'll be interesting to see how he kicks on this year. Can he have a really good season and maybe he's the next one to sort of move on from Bournemouth to a bigger club? If it doesn't quite happen for him, which it isn't looking like it's going to this summer. But I think looking at that team, there's a lot of talented players. I think Alex Scott in the middle is a good young player. Evan Nielsen up front, I quite like him too. Scored a few goals last season in an injury hit year. But I think the main area of focus for Bournemouth is the defence. So you're looking at Adam Smith, he's been there for ages. Hill, Senesi, and Truffert as the back four, and even Petrovic in the net, he's another new player. Their defence has been decimated from last season's defence, which was really good. They had about the 6th best expected goals against last season. So they had a really good defence last year. I think they kept 9 clean sheets, something along those lines. So yeah, really, really solid numbers last year. And you look at the players they had, when you think of it now, you're like, of course, they had, they had Zabarnyi, who has gone to PSG. They had Howson, who we know was super, super highly rated and touted by a lot of clubs. He's gone to Real Madrid, so as big as you can go, really, except for Liverpool, of course. You've got Kirkes, who's gone to the mighty Reds at left back, and they have replaced one of the centre backs. They've bought Diakite from Lille. However, they only announced him as a signing yesterday, so I'm not sure how likely he is to start. He might start, and I think if he does, it'll probably be in place of Hill, but we'll see. How ready is he to adapt and be thrown into the deep end away at Anfield? I'm not sure. That defence is key. Can Bournemouth be as secure as they were last year, and keep Liverpool out, keep them at bay, whilst they're obviously raring to go, and the crowd will be raring them on in that first game of the season. Everyone's eager to get going and ready to play. It's a night game. The atmosphere is going to be great. But at the other end of the pitch, they're definitely going to pose a threat. They have good attacking players, like I said, Semenyo, Tavernier, Django Utara, and Evan Nilsson's a pretty solid front four, if those four are all to start the game. But the one they're missing, a name that people might be wondering where it is, Justin Kluivert, he's not training still, so he's not had much preseason. I don't even know if he's had any preseason, but he certainly wasn't playing their recent friendlies. I went and had a look, and Iraola said after the most recent friendly against Sociedad at the weekend that he is still not training with them, and his injury's taken a little bit longer to come back from than they first assumed. So he might update more in a press conference. I've not seen him do one yet, but it doesn't look to me like Kluivert will be starting, and I think that's good for Liverpool. He's definitely dangerous. Last season he was probably their star player in the attack, along with Semenyo. Obviously takes the penalties too, so there is that. Takes corners as well, I think. A dangerous delivery. So Kluivert is a big miss for them, definitely. Like I said, the defense has been decimated really, so that's going to be key. And Diakite not ready yet. Not yet ready yet. Did I say yet twice then? I think I did. Whatever, guys. So, like I said, they had the 6th best away record last season. In the league in general, they were the 6th best away team. So, if the Premier League table was just based on away results, they would come 6th. So they're pretty good away from home, Bournemouth. I think their style sort of matches well with them being away from home. Not to say that they're a full counter-attacking team. They can play as well. But I just think they're so dangerous on the counter-attack. They have pacey players like Django Tara, like Semenyo, and they're really well set up to be able to spring into attacks, which is something that we have been vulnerable to. So interesting sort of cross match up there. Like if you look at some of the results they had last season, they beat Arsenal 2-1 at the Emirates. They beat Newcastle 4-1 at St James's. That was probably their most impressive performance last year. Kirk has actually scored in that game. They also beat United at Old Trafford. These are all away wins. So they're a very dangerous team, and they're super well coached. I mean, Iraola has a nice setup. It's probably going to be something resembling a 4-2-3-1 when they have the ball. I'm sure it will drop to sort of a 4-5-1 when they don't have it. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if they can still maintain that defensive steel that they had last year. Especially the goalkeeper as well. He's also gone, and Petrovic is in, new goalkeeper. I think there's a big onus on Liverpool to sort of get at that defence. And we'll get into some key battles just after this in the game. But yeah, I think if Liverpool can score some early goals against that defence, then maybe this one could get out of hand. I'm not saying it'll be a 9-0 like it was a few years back. But yeah, I think that's the approach Liverpool will want, is to score that first goal, get the crowd going, get the momentum, and maybe go for the second and go for the kill. So we'll look at Bournemouth's preseason results as well. They beat Hibs 2-1, they beat Bristol City 6-2, and they beat Everton 3-0. So they started off really well, scoring a lot of goals, winning games. But then they lost to United 4-1 and West Ham 2-0 as well. And then they drew on the weekend against Sociedad 0-0. So they started really well and then had a little poor sort of run towards the end of preseason. How much can you read into that? I don't really know. They were part of the USA series, so this is where they went. We obviously went to Asia and played over there with a few games here in the UK as well. But a bit of a mixed bag from Bournemouth, and I mean, look, I don't know how much you can take from their preseason results, but they're scoring goals, or they were at least at the start, free scoring, but then also conceding a few as well. You know, United 4-1, West Ham 2-0. These are Prem teams. And they've been testing themselves against Prem level teams with Everton, United, West Ham. We've only played Palace, who are going to be in the Prem next year, and we lost. We drew, but we lost. So maybe that's good preparation from them. Not sure. Don't think it really matters, I'll be honest. So yeah, that is Bournemouth, and we'll get into some key battles of the game. So for me, I think the key areas of where the game could be swayed. And I'm not going to do like every 1v1 or whatever, because that's easy to say, but I'll pick out a couple. So I think Van Dijk against Evan Nielsen is a very key battle. I mean, Van Dijk in the Community Shield was really poor. I very much doubt that will be how he plays this game. I think he'll be much better, but he wasn't good, and Evan Nielsen will give him a tough time. He certainly will try his best to anyway, and it's key for Van Dijk, I think, to sort of come back to form. He did have that illness, perhaps that impacted him more than we think, and yeah, I think that's a key battle because Evan Nielsen likes to get in behind. He likes to press really well. He's quite he's a striker who doesn't get tired if he doesn't get the ball. He still remains engaged in the game. A bit of a poacher. Can score a goal, decent finisher. So Van Dijk keeping him quiet will be key. Obviously, Konate's involved in that as well. But I wanted to pick out Van Dijk specifically after his poor performance in the Community Shield. Can he get back up to that level that we'd expect from him? I also picked out Kirkez against Semenyo. I think this one's really important. Semenyo's probably Bournemouth's most dangerous player, and obviously Kirkez, brand new player for us against his old club in his debut. So gonna be interesting. Can Kirkez keep Semenyo completely quiet? Can he shut him down? And will that become sort of a trademark of Kirkez, that he's able to really nullify the other team's wingers? If he can, that'd be great for Liverpool. If he can show us that defensive ability and that side of his game in the first game of the season against a tough winger, that'd be really good. Semenyo is very physical, extremely strong player. Not the most fast. Like, he's not rapid. He's not like gonna really take you down the line and outpace you. But he is quick, and he's got ability to go on both feet. So it's interesting for Kirkez. How will he deal with that? And can he keep him quiet? And then I think you've also got to look on the other side of the pitch at the other right winger versus left back, Mo Salah versus Truffaut. So Bournemouth's replacement for Kirkez, who has the most French name of all time. Salah against him is a key battle, and this time it's in our attacking favour. So I think he's new to the Premier League, Bournemouth's new left back, and no tougher test than going against Mo Salah. We know what Salah's all about, but can he impose that onto Truffaut? I also think he was pretty poor in the Community Shield, didn't really get involved in the first half at all. Expecting a much better performance from him in this one. Can he keep up his record and extend his record of scoring in every first game of the season? He's scored in every single one for Liverpool since he joined. So could he do that again? And will the new man at left back for Bournemouth keep him quiet? We'll see. I think that's a key one. And then the last one I'll pick out is just generally Bournemouth's midfield, more specifically Scott and Adams. How will they deal with Wirtz and the positions he picks up? Because like I said, I think Wirtz is going to be really key to getting Liverpool moving and getting into our attacking flow. And how will Bournemouth keep him quiet? Will they have a plan for him, seeing as he's a new player? I'm sure they will. But how will they defend him? Will they allow him space deep and try and nullify that space between the lines where he likes to operate? It's going to be interesting. Will he drift out wide and maybe come away from those two holding midfielders? Tyler Adams is a really tough tackler, so will he look to maybe sort of smash him one in the early doors and let him know that he's in the Premier League and this is what's going to happen? We'll see, but I think they're key battles going into the game. Overall, I will give a little prediction. I don't usually predict, but we'll do it for YouTube. So I think we'll concede a goal. So clean sheet, I'd love one, but I don't see any evidence that we'll keep one. However, I do think we'll score, and I think as a result, I'll go for 3-1 to Liverpool. I think. I don't know what order those goals will come in. Hopefully, we get 3 and then they score the consolation. But I think 3-1 is what I'll go with. And speaking of predictions, to finish off today, we will do Super 6 ahead of the weekend. Let's see if I can win £1 million right in front of you all. Let's go do that right now. All right, Super 6 then. We're going to try and be consistent with this year. I did play a little last year, didn't get anywhere close. I was a little inconsistent, but we're going to try and do it this year every week. and maybe we can win £1 million, or you can watch me win it with these predictions. So here we go. The first game, it's got Brighton v Fulham. I've not even looked at these, so you're going to see my raw reaction right now. As always, this is basically impossible to get right, so you have to just guess sometimes, do stuff a bit crazy. Let's see what people are putting as popular. Oh wow, that's more people are predicting Brighton would win than I might think. And the pundits reckon 2-0 and 2-1. I suppose maybe because Fulham haven't done any signings. But no, I'm going to go with the draw, honestly. I'm going to go with the draw. I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I don't know. Why not? Okay, Sunderland against West Ham. Jamie is already here. I didn't even have to click anything. He's already out. He thinks 1-1, and the admin thinks 2-1. People think West Ham mostly to win. And what stats have we got? It's just most recent games. Doesn't really matter. Ooh, this is tricky. This is tricky. Sunderland back in the Premier League. You know what? I think the bounce they'll have of being back, West Ham. I'm gonna go 2-1 to Sunderland. I'm gonna go 2-1 Sunderland. I'm going against the grey in early doors, but I'm going 2-1. You have to go crazy with these, otherwise you never win, and that's why no one ever wins, because it's so hard. All right, Spurs v Burnley. I think we'll keep this one pretty simple. Let's see what everyone's put in. 91% of people think Spurs will win. 2-0 and 3-0. Yeah, I can't see Burnley scoring. I have said I think they're going to struggle with scoring. I think I'm going to agree with Jamie Carragher and go 2-0. Or should I go 3-0? Oh, this could be the £1 million goal. I'll go 2-0. Let's not go crazy here. Let's not go crazy. Okay. Wolves v Man City. Wow, Carragher reckons 3-0 to City. Okay. And 94% of people think City will win. I will agree with that. I think City will win. They'll probably score at least 2 goals. Will Wolves get one? I'll go with yes. I'll go with this. Let's go with 3-1 to Man City. Have we done a 3-1? No. I like that. Right. Chelsea against Palace. First thought is that Palace are going to score. They can definitely compete in these big games nowadays. Do I go with a shock Palace win? Because I bet you it's not popular. 3% of people think Palace will win. 3-0. This is crazy. This is crazy. These guys are much better than Carragher's give them credit for. Maybe he's trying to be a little rogue. I'm going with this. I'm going 2-2. It's random, but there we go. And then finally, United against Arsenal. United never lose on the opening day. They have this weird voodoo. They just don't lose on the opening day, and I bet you they don't lose this one. I've been saying it all summer. I'm going to go with 1-1. A lot of draws, actually, isn't there? Do I change any? Oh, do I change? Shouldn't change ever. No, I'm not changing. I'm sticking with that. I think 1-1. What's the popular? Okay, a little bit more split there, but most people think Arsenal will win. And we've got a tiebreak here. Predict the first minute of the goal. I always just go early doors with about 5th minute. There's always usually an early goal. Let's go with 5. Submit predictions. There we go. My results would win me £334 from a quid. So I think we've gone with some unlikely ones, but that's how you have to do to win Super 6. So let's hope I win. All right, guys. Yeah, that's Super 6 done and dusted. Right, so that is going to bring today's video to an end, guys. A little preview of the game with some predictions for the weekend's results. Looking forward to it a lot. Liverpool v Bournemouth. I'll be watching all the other games. I cannot wait for the new season, and I hope you guys are all excited as well. If you did enjoy today's video, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. There's going to be plenty more previews through the season. We'll have ratings out on the weekend as well for Liverpool's game. It might even be up after the game on Friday night, really late. We'll see. But yeah, plenty more to come. I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, please do let me know. But until next time, guys, I will see you all very soon. Thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you all, and I'll speak to you.